Good morning. My name's Chip Huber, and I have a cold, if you can't tell. But I serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Development and Athletic Director at Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I first went to sub-Saharan Africa about 15 years ago. Of all reasons, it was because Bono had come to the local college where we lived and talked about the global HIV/AIDS pandemic and challenged a group of students that I was sitting with there to respond. I quickly fell in love with the African culture, the African people, and really the small nation of Zambia has become a second home filled with, to be honest, some of my very best friends in this world now. I've seen firsthand the impact preventable diseases have had on communities and families in our 8 visits there. Several years ago, I sat outside a family hut in a remote rural village after a soccer match, and I heard a mom share her story of losing her 15-month-old son named Alex to the bite of a mosquito that carried a parasite that caused her son to quickly die from malaria because they couldn't afford to purchase enough bed nets for each of their children and their family. That team of men's soccer players from Cornerstone University was moved to action when they heard Alex's story in person. They came home from Africa knowing that they needed to do something to help end malaria because of what their faith called them to do and what they'd seen and heard that they could never forget. They decided they would do something to provide bed nets through the power and the influence of the thing that they knew best, sports. In particular, they felt like raising funds to provide bed nets at soccer games to help keep their African brothers and sisters healthy, who love that beautiful game just like them, was indeed the most appropriate response. So Night of Nets started with one soccer match on the small college campus of Cornerstone in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That initial group of soccer players was thrilled to provide hundreds of families in Africa with a bed net that they prayed that they would one day receive through ticket sales and t-shirt sales. Very simple strategy. But then other athletic teams on that campus, our campus, heard the story, embraced the vision, choosing to hold Night of Nets events in their own teams. And a whole campus community at one college began to come together to fight for the end of malaria as something that gave them a grander purpose for life, something much bigger than themselves. And Night of Nets began to spread as other teams and schools and individuals involved in sports decided that they could leverage their gifts, their resources, and to be honest, the remarkable cultural status they have as athletes to change and save the lives of others affected by one of the world's biggest global health threats. To be honest, my role, the role that I've loved, is being the main cheerleader for this effort and watching it grow to teams and states across our country. We now have over 50 partners in our Night of Nets campaign, and we've provided over 25,000 families in sub-Saharan Africa with a life-saving bed net. It's a net that we've been able, thank you, that's truly something to celebrate. And perhaps the most powerful part is that it's a net that we've been able to hand personally to children in Zambia year after year. We have no intention of ending Night of Nets campaign till malaria no longer impacts families like Alex's. We've seen firsthand how community lives and really their futures change literally overnight when bed nets are distributed. We've loved partnering with incredible organizations like Nothing But Nets on the front lines, helping to maximize ultimately the impact of our fundraising efforts. And most of all, we love taking the gifts, the blessings, the incredible opportunities that we've received and seeking to use them in creative ways to bless others in need in our global community, especially when we know how much of a difference one simple net makes. Night of Nets has brought us incredible joy, great meaning, magnificent purpose. And to be honest, we can't think of anything we'd rather do than continue to play the games that we love to enable the next generation of African kids to play the games that they love with joy and with health, just like we do at the same time on the other side of the world. Thank you.